right by the Christmas tree where we left him on Friday afternoon, and the vape god himself, aka the Prince of Dubai, aka Burr Milk, aka Frosted Tips, aka Santa. So we have a nice update for you all, right? So coming into a brand new week, we are coming into the end of the year. We are coming into some pretty big areas of the chart here. So be sure to tune in, to hit that like button if you guys enjoy our content. We do try to come to you live every Monday through Friday, 10:07-ish Eastern. And today we're going to go over Bitcoin, Ethereum. We're going to take a look at the SPX, as well as probably the DXY per usual. And I'm going to take a look at Dogecoin and Ethereum, a couple of the setups, a couple of the recent trades we had. We just came into some take profit levels on the Ethereum trade from the members only market update that we did last night. So if that all sounds interesting to you, be sure to subscribe and like this video. So number one question is got to go to, let's say Santa. Santa, how you doing over there in Dubai today, buddy?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It's been a slow day, slow trickle down, but been okay.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, I'm going to jump out of here for a second, and Magic's going to come right in. So hold down the fort for us.
Sure. So I'll just start while they're sorting themselves out, because I think Magic's he's already in. I'll let him go.
What's that?
Different angle. I'll let you speak.
Yeah. You let me speak? All right, let me get my screen up, guys. We're going to go over the Bitcoin price action, probably cover SPX a little bit, and take a look at DXY. DXY kind of throwing a curveball into things these days, but that's all right. So Bitcoin, pretty simple chart here. You have just like we do every week. And in this case, you have the previous week setup. You've come up to the previous week high, which we were able to nail. Then you were looking at the old previous week high as support, and we talked about this right here. Okay, so this had more to do with not just being the previous week high, but there was also a few other things there in terms of, I think single prints and a few things that just matter in terms of trend continuation. But you've successfully now swung failed this high. You've come back to the weekly open, which is an important area to hold, mainly as you have a daily level of support beneath you. And I'm going to get rid of this Asia low, because that is not technically the Asia low. That's old high. And you can see right here, it's been support. So if we start losing this region on the chart, it's not going to look that great. And I've gone ahead and boxed it off over here on this more of a high time frame chart. That way it's a little bit cleaner. I know it doesn't look cleaner right now, but there we go. And we come over here, you can see you've got your weekly and you've got our pivots here. So we're looking at that as more than likely being an area that really needs to be held. You've got your previous week high right here, or your previous week high in this case. If you start losing this region of the chart, I'm expecting a full retrace back down to kind of like the lows of the range. And if you were to, again, pull up all of your ranges and just take a look at what's going on there, it all lines up with a range-bound movement and a deviation of the high. So everyone that was getting excited about that pump would probably be in a little bit of trouble. So Bitcoin really does need to hang on to this 16,787 up to, I would even call it $7,000 region. These lows right here just need to stay intact, because losing these does make this look like a pretty quick move up, and we would expect to see the low of the range again, right around $16,000, potentially as low as 15 and some change. So that is all I've got on Bitcoin. Very, very simple. What would make me excited is if Bitcoin does come down here, hit this, reclaims the weekly open. That's when you're going to get that challenge into the quarter two low, which I really find it hard to believe that we're not going to come up to this quarter two low at some point and tap it. So I'm still waiting on that 17.5 area. It's of interest. If we don't get it, we don't get it. But it's just hard to believe that we're going to get this close and not come up here and take that. So, that's all I'll really say about that. In terms of the SPX, I was tinkering with some forks earlier. So you guys have to excuse me on that one. SPX, right? So we had this harmonic. We've been talking about this zone specifically, maybe these two pieces, okay? Specifically right here, the X and the B, we've now come into that. Technically, this harmonic is still valid because this can get quite overextended. That's the purpose of a shark. It can go up to a 113% above X, and it can also go to a 224% expansion right here. So you're well within the confines of what they want to see, at least an 886 and a 1618. But it does, let you know that you can go a little bit higher. However, again, like we've talked about, you're now at the point where this move is into resistance. Even if there is a little bit more up to go, is it really worth you trying to catch that and longing into resistance? It's just not. This is a great place to be either taking profits or looking for opportunities to see if you can't short it back to support, which is what happened right here. We had a nice time pivot, came all the way back to the 24M at 39.23, and then you made a new high. You've taken that high, and what I would do if I was trading this, I would literally mark off the old high right here, and I would just say, you know, if we start losing 40, 30, you know, there's a chance we're probably going to run it all the way back down and take these lows into support again. And you get to play the game of, is this support? And you could, you know, look at this as like a shoulder, head, shoulder. And I know that stock market bros love that stuff. So you would be targeting basically down here again. I mean, it's quite simple. And as always, we talked about this previously. What is the pattern, or what is the target of a shark? It is the 0.5, and it is the B leg pivot. I boxed it off here with the Q4 key level. So you'd still be targeting this box and about 37.82 over time. That is if this confirms a top. So that's all you're waiting on, is confirmation of this being a top. I think a break back into this probably does that after you've pushed up and taken it. Or if you're really conservative, you can take the meat of the move, so to speak, and it's the breakdown of 39.23 into this zone. Still a pretty nice $100 move out of the stock market. And I know those guys, that's a pretty big move for stock market guys. So DXY, I think we said we would talk about, which this is the curveball for me, has been the DXY. It respected the TA so nicely here, you know, almost to the penny. And then again on fib time day, it did come up to the level we were looking for this 106.96 area, and it did get rejected and now making new lows, but really just swinging these lows right here. So if it continues to hang on to these, you could still see a rally up. You know, that can still happen. I would want to see this 105.34 level reclaimed in support. And if that's the case, I would look for it to come all the way back up to like 106 and then maybe even 108. And that would be in line with Bitcoin and the SPX pulling back a little bit, maybe remaining range bound. So if it starts dropping off though and comes all the way down to this 12M at like 102, yeah, then we probably should be looking to see if Bitcoin and the stock market are going to attempt higher at that time. So pretty simple stuff. That's really all I've got on Bitcoin, the DXY, and the SPX. Make sure there's no questions. Generally, we don't get too many, but you never know. All right, all good. Are you ready to roll, Maxwell?
I am. I've not figured out my keyboard, but it's okay. Some reason it's just not. But I can work without it, so all good. Let me pop this screen on, get rid of my face. So
right,
I'm just going to kind of do like a overview, because obviously Magic gave his levels of what to expect and which lows to be defended. Now, my area is a little bit higher. I would say my area comes in at around 16,700, reason being, well, we discussed it for pretty much all of last week, and it's that single print. That single print, that inefficiency on the chart, you know, and I'm calling it 16,700 because it's this low here where you've bounced from before. It effectively was the single print prior, before we started to dip into it. But if that isn't defended, that low, you know, you've got it's at least a 1.5% move. Granted, not huge, but the fact that it's such a huge inefficiency, you start to lose that. Well, you know, you're losing the inefficiency, then you know you're losing the strong point of the trend. You don't want to be getting in that inefficiency, because if you are, well, you're really going to be looking to, well, first of all, close it, and then second of all, you know, take some positions. So if we don't tap the areas that Magic has spoken about before, the Q2 low, you know, the first sign for me is, well, the loss of this is like you're going to make you're going to at least a gold pocket, at least sweep these lows before going and tapping that one. And it's crazy because we're so close to it. Granted, we're not far away from this, but you know, it's we are slap bang in the middle now. So you can't really take a short in anticipation of hitting this. But there is a possibility of a bounce when we get there. But I would say it's weaker because we have already tested it, you know, a couple times. That's the RSI. So I just want to go over the order flow of today, effectively. So because the weekend has been abysmal volume, it's been really, really, really low volume. You did get a rise up. I'm going to hide the marked. You did get a little pump, I think, that was Saturday. Saturday, pretty much the start of the trading session. I think that was like the monthly open that it tapped there. I think it rejected perfectly from the monthly open at the time. That was also an untapped daily. Solid little setup. The rise up was on high volume, but stagnant open interest, positions changing hands. You got a lot of, let me zoom out a little bit, realize we're well zoomed in here. You had buyers on the right, but you got a selling balance on the left. And ultimately, the sellers won. Could have entered on this close of the candle and the next selling imbalance, and that's where you got the delta switch up. Shorts started to enter, increasing open interest, positive delta. Okay, so rejecting from a level that we've identified on the main chart, the monthly open. You've had buyers make an attempt. You've had positions changing hands. You've had strong selling at the level. You had liquidations in the run up. Okay, it was an easy trade for anyone that took it, but if you're anywhere other than America, who is getting up at 4 a.m. on a Saturday? But then other than that, price has been so slow. It's been really, really painful to, keep watching, I guess, because it's just been so slow. Now, this morning, when we were having our member stream, where we were here, we had this trade go off live in the stream. We came and we took the previous week high. This was the previous week high, I believe. I think it's behind the previous week val. Took the previous week high. Nice swing fell. You had volume was, it tried, but you had decreasing open interest. So, its positions closing out. You had a lot of buyers at the top there. And it, I say buyers, could be shorts closing. But that's a solid amount to not really push the price anyway. If you go and look at the price action that we've currently got, where you've got 200, 300K in a 5-minute candle, like blow your brains out slow. You had 3.2 million there, failed to push the price $10. And then you fell back in, below the high. If you waited for the close, granted it was a bit far away, but you got your selling imbalance pretty much straight away. And we even said for the scalp, you have to be taking profits at the previous day high. And, as you can see, it tapped the previous day high and, played out pretty perfectly. Granted, it wasn't a big trade, but it was a trade nevertheless. You then came up, swung, fell at it again, which was, I'd say, a little more difficult. Reason being, you've got levels to the upside, and I say more difficult, I guess, because you put more candles in above the high. It made it a little more confusing for people that are looking at it on the 5-minute. But if you zoom in, you did have volume. Okay, the volume was there for the break, but you had decreasing open interest, and delta wasn't anything too. So you didn't have positions changing hands here. But what did you get? Well, you got shorts entering on the next candle. So that kind of gives you your delta switch up that you always have to be looking at when looking at this type of software. So you got your delta switch up, and then down you go. Then the rest of the day, the only thing I'd really say we had going on was the fact that you had a deviation of the previous week value area high, and that's what that was as well. It's just a deviation, failed to hold the previous week value area high. You did have some buying imbalances going on. However, it wasn't on increasing open interest, so it's not really the easiest one to trade. But you could have identified the fact that we are getting some bearish diversions, the fact that it is positions changing hands. But it wasn't so clear, it wasn't so obvious really at the time. You came up, then you failed to reclaim the previous week value area high. And then it was a slow drag until it started to drop at 7 o'clock for my time. So I was saying in the group, because we had a live trading session around this time, I was going over a couple of things. We did try and take one of the SFPs. Which one was it? A bit earlier. Something around here. We all took the trade. It just couldn't get anywhere near where we wanted to take profits, but it was such a small trade, small position side, because you're countering a trend, and it was a tier. If you're going to use a tier list, it was a tier 1 trade. You only had the fact that there was some positions changing hands, but in the live trading sessions, we try and take a trade, and the only opportunity we had, we didn't literally do anything else for the rest of the session. But I said to them all in the group, what you're going to want to see when price is slowly dragging along in any direction, up or down. And I'm not talking about like range bound slowly dragging. I'm talking about if it's going up in a direction, it's not offering any trades on the long side, it's not offering any setups on the short side. It's just moving in like a slug direction, going, up a broken down tree, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that one, but when it's moving in a really slow pace in a specific angle, what you need to wait to see for that trend to really change is you need to see volatility pick up. You need to see a volume spike. Ideally, it comes to an area where you're expecting a bounce from before you get any type of reversal on that move. But they can continue on for a long time. Now, what we just had as we started the stream is you had the volume and you had the volatility pick up. And where did we come down to? Well, you came down to the previous point of control. Also, you came down to, thank you, that alert. You came down to the golden pocket if you pulled it from here. So you've got a golden pocket on the previous day point of control. So this is a possible setup. Now let me just have a look at it for 2 seconds and see if there's any validity to take a trade here. Now, what do you want to see? Well, you want to see ideally a delta switch up. You've got instead decreasing open interest into the move. That's okay. But you've got shorts piling in here, shorts piling in here. You can tell from the delta on the increasing open interest. Granted, it's not many and there must have been a battle because there is 1.6 million open interest increase there. However, the delta is only 400K, so they tried. What I would wait looking at this price action now, the fact we're in an area that we want to bounce, we've seen some volatility, we've seen the volume spike. They've had 70 million, 12 million now. You've not had that till the start of the day when we were catching the swing failure patterns. So now what you want to see, looking at this, you've not had a delta switch up, okay? So you're not going to just enter off the bat. We always say in the group, do not take limit orders. We don't set limit orders. That's okay. Maybe Magic will do it one time when he's so certain of a level, then he'll use a childish stop loss of 369. But anyway, the fact that we're not getting that type of thing here, and it's just a pain to take a trade. There's no entry trigger here. There's no delta switch up here. You're not getting your entry triggers to take this trade on. The gold pocket proves to point of control. People will have set limit orders here, but it's not a setup right now. You're not getting your entry trigger. So what do you need to see for this to become a setup? Well, looking at the price, looking at this, looking where we've had the sellers, the shorts enter the market, I would say it's below the weekly open. If you can get above there, this is where the shorts are. The shorts are in these 2 candles here. And looking at where the imbalances are above here, the bid ask, sorry, there's weak volume at the top of this candle. The volume is very bottom heavy. So with that being the case, where can we use our confirmations? Where can we be certain that we are getting a bounce from the previous day point of control on the gold pocket? I would wait for the confirmation, and I would say that confirmation is a claim of the weekly open to then take that trade. Where would I take that to? Well, I think if you're claiming here, I really think you've got to be taking profits at, I would say, probably the day value area low. The monthly open's a bit too close to be taking profits at, but I'd be cautious of it. I would certainly be aware of the monthly open, but probably the day value area low, the previous day high. That is an area that you can be comfortable taking profits at. Now, if it breaks up, great. You've only taken profits, but you've locked them in. But price could come up and do one of them support to resistance bounces where it comes up, back tests and dumps. If you've not taken profits, you've just given the market all the the work that you've just put in. You've just given it straight back to the market. So it's good to lock it in when you can. So that's kind of what I'm waiting for here. A claim of the weekly open, and we go and tap the previous day high. Whether we get it or not bothered. Don't know, not bothered. But right now, looking at this, it doesn't seem that this is a valid setup here. You really have to wait for confirmations. This isn't what you want to see when you're looking to take a trade from a level. Definitely not. But if we start to push up, claim some ground, then what have we got? Well, we've got trap traders. We've got fuel for the upside. So that could be a good thing. But it's kind of one of them where you have to wait and see and be patient with it. Have we got any bearish divergence? Let me just have a look before I give it back to the boys. Appears not. So yeah, if we can start to claim the weekly open, looking at the price of today where it's kind of been doing that slow move down, increase in open interest, and Delta has been somewhat down. If you can start to claim these levels, you've got the liquidity here to go and take you to the daily level that Magic was mentioning earlier. Or you've just got to, the buyers have got to be interested. And I'll be honest with you, looking at the price, looking at the action today, buyers have simply not been interested at all. So, that's the thing you kind of got to wait for when looking to take a long. So, and we are looking to take a long right now. This is a long area. You're not going to be shorting from here. But yeah, sorry, boys. Keep you waiting. I am all done.
Never apologize, sir. I wanted to go ahead and start off by saying, contrary to belief, Magic is not short. I'm actually standing straight up right now, and he's dwarfing me. So
stand up.
Yeah. This is it, man. I'm on my toes.
In our box right now.
All right. So let's see here. Turn off your screen. There we go. Okay, so taking a look at so last night we had our members only market update, right? We do that every Sunday, every Wednesday. Sunday nights are extra special because it's right after the weekly close. So we usually have a lot of really good areas to work with. So after our stream, which we covered this in detail during, but when we got done, 11 o'clock, right, we were looking at the price action here on Ethereum, short term, low time frame things, right? Previous day range, Dalton was in play, lose the VWAP 1289, and we were targeting lower, right? So at the time, we were about 13, right at that $1,300 mark. As we were coming into the highs there. And once again, trigger was losing the VWAP, which I think actually took a little bit more time. So by the time we actually lost it, it was like, maybe a couple dollars higher. But either way, that would have been what you would have been looking for. And then targeting down to your daily open. We had the previous range high, which was also our daily key level. So that's another, major statistical target that's bound to get hit, pretty much, a good amount of times within the next day. And then you had a golden pocket that lined up right with the point of control, which is also your Dalton target once you re-enter this range. I mean, so you had a really nice little staircase into this region if we lose that VWAP. So we did, those conditions were met this morning. And then overall, you got the previous range low comes in right here at the untapped weekly key level as well. So really nice and clean, real simple. Don't know what the whale manipulation for the day would be that, tanks the market, but we were pretty prepared. So obviously this is how we played out, right? Lose the VWAP right here. You got the back test and just straight through. Already hit the golden pocket now. So you got your point of control essentially lines up like 1258. And then losing that region, I would imagine that, we're going to make it down to this area right here. So looking at this on a small time frame, nothing is broken, right? You still would come in. And even if we got this region right here and this holds, I would, similar to what Max said, right? At this point, you can't be looking for shorts. You can't really be looking to long where we are right now either, because now we're just diddling in the middle, so to speak. You are right at a golden pocket, so take that for what it's worth. I do imagine, this probably will offer up a slight bounce area as people are going to try to, come in at this region. It's just depending on where you're going to, take it from there. So you could come up, get a back test of the daily key level, come back down, even all the way back up to the daily open. But for me, really want to see the daily key up here reclaimed and really get back above yesterday's range. Getting back above the VWAP is obviously another one. So in the short term, you could, try to take things up back to the VWAP. Otherwise, I'm still holding my short. I've taken 2 profits so far. Last one, I'm going to hold out for this one down here. And then I'll probably start looking for longs in that region if available, right? So kind of keep an eye on Bitcoin as well. The kind of aligns with Bitcoin kind of going into some of the levels that Max and Magic both brought up. Another thing too, we had the previous week regression, just nailed the high right here. So this is another indication that we were probably going to see at least move it back down to this region. You can see right now we're at the lower level of that as well. So in a sense of a, bounce area or possibly, taking this back up, this actually would be a decent area now looking at it a little bit longer, but I'm still just holding for a little shorter here. So, but I've already taken my 2 profits out. So either way, the trade is winning. Put all that in the group last night and the screenshot, I guess, just a moment ago. And then that's, kind of the low time frame here for ETH, right? So now zooming out a bit, where are we in the area here? So similar to how Magic was talking about, Bitcoin running it up to, possibly 17.5, 17.6, right? Not guarantee we get it, but, coming all this way and not getting it is a little odd, but we'll see how it goes. Same thing kind of goes for ETH. So we've ran the, previous month's range here pretty close. Front ran the high a little bit here. And the only reason I'm, focusing on this region is because we have the untapped monthly key level up here as well. You got the quarterly VWAP. And obviously that now coincides with a bunch of highs. So short term, coming down and even just taking out the weekly key level that we're at right now, and then swinging up here, hitting that monthly key level, getting the rejection, you're going to knock out everybody that was shorting. And then we'll see how it goes, right? Start losing it, coming back down for a little bit more downside. Maybe we eventually come down to our dailies down here below, or we just break out and we'll kind of monitor it from there, of course. But yeah, it's pretty much still the same levels we've been looking at. Friday's update for ETH, pretty much we went into detail with that as well. So right now it's just kind of intraday moves being played. So our major range that, we've been looking at, one thing to note is that the area that I was looking for to, kind of live above for Ethereum was 1221. So we have obviously been doing that for quite some time now. So losing that region, kind of leads us back to, that's kind of one of the gatekeeper areas that probably are going to take us back down to the untapped dailies. But at the moment, 1221, 1224, this region right here, as long as we're living above this area, I would expect a little bit more upside. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts, right, in the short and mid to long term here over the next few weeks. Is exciting time as we're finishing out the year here. So we're going to have a lot of new, yearly levels coming in for everything in the market at the end of the month. So we'll see how the volatility starts pouring in, if it does. The other one I wanted to take a look at here on the stream was Dogecoin, right? So, and Doge has just been trading so well for, a long time, but we've really been doing really well with it over the last few months here, right? So just another beautiful trade here. So we had the untapped monthly key level. This was the weekend warrior, right? So to speak. We had this run here. It was right here. It's local golden pocket. So I got the new weekly open right here, but the previous week open was right here at about 0.97, 0.98 cents, whatever it was. It was right at this local golden pocket right here. Got in on a trade here over the weekend, looked to run it up. I actually closed out my long a little early, just because I was, focusing on Ethereum. So I did miss out on the last half of this, but still offered up a 27% win. So I'll take it. And then from here, got a really nice rejection right back to the weekly open now for the current week, and losing that in the short term here, right? So one thing to note is just kind of taking a look at our overall range here. You got a high time frame range, does line up really nicely with the untapped weekly up here. You got a golden pocket up here as well, like up towards about 12-13 cents. I think over time, if we get a move that we are talking about with Bitcoin, to like 17.6, things of that nature, I think that we could see a move up to this region, and this is where I'd be looking for a pretty decent short opportunity on Doge, right? And this would probably get everybody really excited. It really wouldn't come and do anything. You'd be making lower highs, but this is a really big area I'd be watching up here about 12.8, almost 13 cents again. But in the short term, yeah, you got from low to high, if this was our just overall high for the moment, comes back all the way down, golden pocket down here at the point of control. So as far as anybody in a short, you could try to take it all the way down in this region where we are now. Obviously, you'd want to be locking in some gains if you have them, stop loss, break even, or at least, back above week open, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, Doge has just been really, really playing pretty well. Same thing. You got the previous week regression. Right. Just got things really nicely also. So 4-hour time frame, we can even just put this on the 15-minute, right? And you can see how ran up, right? Popped that untapped monthly and then just came back, closed back in this region. Pretty much a green light that you were coming back down. So I would imagine at least coming back down to the lower area of this, right? Coming back down to pretty much yesterday's lows, things like that, taking out some of these areas here. And then we'll see how low it can go. This daily level has just been really nice for us over the last few months as well, as you can see here. That's also that golden pocket and point of control once again. So yeah, just just keeping an eye on things, seeing how things wrap up for the year. Ethereum and Bitcoin obviously been treating us right, and think that's about all I got, right? So been a pretty eventful morning. Not that this is an epic move by any means, but I mean, as far as a trade goes, I mean, 2.5%, no leverage even. I mean, you can really make some moves on 1 to 3% a day, right? So that's kind of the goal. Start compounding and things of that nature, of that caliber. Things can really add up. So I think that's about all I got. Today's Magic's last day here in the old Florida with me, and we're gonna wrap things up, I think, and probably kind of finish up the visit, and then get back to business. So, you got anything to finish up and add, Max or Magic?
I don't.
All right, guys, like 6'8", man. I dunks a basketball sitting down. All right. Max, thank you as always, my friend. Always a good update, gentlemen. A nice show, 30 minutes. I just, I can't imagine there's too many other channels that are packing in as much info as we do in 30 minutes or less. But yeah, until next time, everybody. We do have our leading crypto Discord server information down below if you'd like to join, be a part of those member-only market updates, get access to all of our analysis, trade setups, things like that, ideas, our 14 video step-by-step academy. All the sauce is in there. So we do have a public area as well. If you just want to come in, say hello, ask us questions, make some, requests or something for the public streams. And then other than that, we are going to sign off. And until next time, everybody, have a great morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in this beautiful world. CBO, Magic, and Santa signing out.